Hello, today Taylor and I are finishing up our conversation on channeling. Hey Taylor,
Hey Karen, nice to be back. Long time no see.
happy to have you back. Um, so in your many years of experience, I have two questions about channeling. How common is it and how is
Hmm.
it diagnosed?
Great questions. And obviously, this is not something that's seen every day. So it might throw operators for a little bit of a loop in accurately diagnosing what's going on in that reactor because so many of these are limited information comes outside of those. However, in addition to the obvious pressure drop increase that we kind of touched on during our last call, the reactor could also be exhibiting some poor performance. This might show up in high approach to equilibrium. It might be that higher slips, methane or CO, in the case of ammonia plant front end. That could be an indication of some channeling, and not all the catalyst is seeing the process gas. So therefore, you would expect those higher slips to show up in that way.
And poor performance could also be an indication of poisoning. So the poor performance could be due to poisoning. But we would typically expect to see evidence of poisoning in a temperature profile. So for example, in the reactor flowing top to bottom, in the event of poisoning, we would expect to see the top bed TIs decreasing, the exotherm move down the bed. What about DP? Could a change in DP be an indication of channeling?
Yes, it could, and that's usually a primary way to do a first, kind of a rule to cut out and or see if there is something going on there. If channeling is a result of poor loading or just start with poor loading, you might see a slightly higher start of run pressure drop than previously seen in historical runs. However, pressure drop surveys are not always the most accurate. You might be looking for something in the order of a half a pound or 1 pound at these scales is not so definitive, and especially in case of a mild channeling situation. But in the event that the catalyst has a bed lift or some kind of disturbance or ongoing milling to the top of that catalyst bed, you will see pressure drop rise over time. And it could be that you could even see the pressure drop localized to the top of the bed, for instance, if there are multiple taps available to you to start running a pressure survey, not just inlet and outlet, but some mid beds as well to see where that might be occurring. That might be a clue to rule out or to look further for channeling.
If you have that option with the uh, pressure survey or the gauges along the bed.
Correct. And that's not always that
Thank you.
don't always exist. It's a luxury for some plants to have that in reactors, but it does not always exist.
Yep, yep. Well, thank you so much, Taylor. This is a topic I've been researching lately and learning more about, so I really appreciate the information.
It's my pleasure, Karen. Good to see you. And as always, thanks for having me on.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.